Rocks D Xebec is arguably one of the most dangerous characters One Piece has ever known, and one of its strongest, but we might now know what his plan actually is. Because of various clues that have been laid around by Oda for a long time now, combined with the recent reveals of the newest chapter, we have a fairly good idea that Rocks had not only determined the truth of the world, which is what actually caused him to invade Marie Joie the first time, but also figured out a way to actually usurp the throne of the world and possibly become the king. And this plan is actively still going on to this day, so let's take a look at it. Now, arguably the easiest thing to understand about a plan is its beginning, and funny enough, that's one of the few details that has still been sparse, but we do know that Rocks is an avid follower of Davy Jones. Now, who is Davy Jones in the One Piece world? It's not currently known all that much, but he is a man that has some prevalence throughout the series, obviously more than likely founding the Davy Back game, as well as having the Flying Dutchman, and being the distant ancestor of Vanderdecken, but we're not going to talk about that. More than likely, Davy Jones was a highly important and powerful fishman who instilled some sense of knowledge into the world the same way that Joy Boy did. This knowledge and teaching seems to have been discovered by Xebec and perhaps gave him the idea of how to actually achieve his ultimate goal. His plan then seemed to shift into gear as he assaulted Marie Joie, discovered the king was actually real, and told him that he would return. Along the way, killing a Navy admiral and having his first encounter with King Harold. From there, he went on to his next step, which was simply acquiring the strongest pirate crew that he possibly could, which would later become known as the Rock Pirates, but even before they had their flag, they were already being deemed as one of the strongest crews on the seas, if not the strongest. And as of the latest reveal, it has been revealed that Xebec needed them in order to obtain two very important future items, and they are both devil fruits. And while we don't have a direct confirmation on what either are yet, we do know that one was the secret devil fruit of Elbaf, the one that's supposed to be only passed through the family line. More than likely, this was also why he was attempting to recruit King Harold, though it is worth noting it's entirely possible Harold has never eaten this devil fruit, and that's more than likely the case as it's still locked up in when we see Loki's flashback. More than likely, this will prove to be one of the other god fruits, and a very powerful one at that. But this leaves us with the question of what the other devil fruit was, and more than likely, it was one of the ones that was on display at God Valley. Rocks had even mentioned that he had already wanted some of these devil fruits, and they were the key incentive he was using to get his crew to come along. And considering that these fruits were interestingly present in the event that also housed Kuma's Pawpaw fruit, Kaido's Ua Ua no Mi Model Seryu, and Ivankov's Hormone fruit, that last one is more suspected than anything, but still, it's a high suggestion that all of the fruits on display at this event were of that caliber. And there were, in fact, 6 chests. These were all to be dispersed as rewards for the rabbit hunt, and it makes sense that each one probably had a separate individual devil fruit. And it's unlikely that the fruit that Rocks was seeking was Nika, because there's no way the government would ever allow that one to be out of their hands if they could get a hold of it. More than likely, this fruit was going to be the last god fruit, or possibly Blackbeard's darkness fruit. Nika had been lost for a long time, and it's entirely possible even Rocks didn't know what it was, but the other god fruits are probably still recorded somewhere, and he might have been seeking that power specifically. There's also a strong argument to be made that the darkness fruit is also an ultimate weapon because it cancels out every and any devil fruit that it comes into contact with, which would render a large portion of the One Piece upper echelon pretty helpless. From there, the plan seemed to have been taking this ultimate crew with these powerful fruits and throwing them up against the might of the World Navy, and then ultimately Marie Joie itself. Ultimately, this never happened due to the events of God Valley, but there were some other steps that Rocks was planning to go after the fact. Mostly, he needed to recruit Elbaf because he thought their power would be essential. While it's not like that's news to us as viewers because we've known about the power of the Giants for a long time, it's pretty fair to say that Rocks was certain that a specific set of them was needed, as he also wanted to find the Galliera Company, the Giants who had been kidnapped and forced to create an unknown vessel, which is also more than likely Pluton, which he might have wanted a version of as well. So to be clear, Rocks was stacking his side with the strongest pirates of his era, multiple mythological tier devil fruits, an army of giants, and then ultimately a world weapon class ship. And yes, this all did eventually fall apart on him, more than likely because there were a few factors of fate working against him as well. But honestly, I think his plan and dream might still be living on in a few different facets. In particular, the fact that I think he might have passed this plan, or at least part of it, onto Roger. And in the interim, at least explaining to Roger his fascination with history and his desire to see the truth of the world exposed, which Roger has definitely set the stage for. That was all ultimately compounded by the actual arrival on Laugh Tale, which showed what was probably the true history of the world at large. But what do you think? Was this a good plan on Rocks' part? And if so, what would you have corrected for it on the ultimate belief that he could actually pull it off? And if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like and go ahead and subscribe because we love talking about One Piece on this channel. And if you want to see more, go ahead and check out these videos that are posted here.